Hello, it's Randi Rhodes. Here's a clip from our show, and go to randyrhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.
Mary had a little man.
The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon.
I have a dream today.
Change has come to America.
Believe it.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
Dear colleagues, on Monday night, we received a detailed complaint from a colleague about inappropriate sexual behavior in the workplace by Matt Lauer.
What?
It represented, after serious review, a clear violation of our company's standards. As a result, we have decided to terminate his employment. While it is the first complaint about his behavior in the over 20 years he has been at NBC News, we were also presented with reason to believe this may not have been an isolated incident. Our highest priority is to create a workplace environment where everyone feels safe and protected, and to ensure that any actions that run counter to our core values are met with consequences, no matter who the offender. We are deeply saddened by this turn of events, but we will face it together as a news organization and do it in as transparent a manner as we can. That is the statement from our chairman, Andy Lack, and we just learned this moments ago, just this morning. As I'm sure you can imagine, we are devastated, and we are still processing all of this. And I will tell you right now, we do not know more than what I just shared with you. But we will be covering this story as reporters, as journalists. I'm sure we will be learning more details in the hours and days to come. And we promise we will share that with you. And Hoda, I mean, you know, for the moment, all we can say is that we are heartbroken. I'm heartbroken for Matt. He is my dear, dear friend and my partner, and he is beloved by many, many people here. And I'm heartbroken for the brave colleague who came forward to tell her story, and any other women who have their own stories to tell. And we are grappling with a dilemma that so many people have faced these past few weeks. How do you reconcile your love for someone with the revelation that they have behaved badly? And I don't know the answer to that.
Oh, my God, Matt Lauer. Where in the world is Matt Lauer? Where in the world is Matt Lauer? He's under your dress. That's where he is. Oh, who knew? Who knew? And you know who else? Garrison Keillor. Garrison Keillor. Prairie Home Companion is apparently a weasel up your yin. Wow. I just, wow, this Me Too thing is just, woo, it's, wow. It's incredible. So both Matt Lauer and Garrison Keillor today have been fired for sexual misconduct. So if you're keeping score at home, everybody, here's everybody. Well, it'd be easier to tell you this way. Everybody has been convicted. Everybody has been fired. Everybody has been terminated for inappropriate sexual behavior in the workplace, except for Donald Trump. Amazing. Who has a list of about 16 women. Summer Zervos is suing him for defamation because he called her a liar. You know, I mean, this is just incredible. So apparently, you know, every man in the United States of America, in every workplace, across professions, across, you know, collar lines, white collar, blue collar, journalism, doesn't matter. They're all trying to grab you, Chucky. Except for and they're all actually facing the bar of justice, except for the man that actually said you could do anything. You could do anything. You can grab them by the Chucky if you want to. You can grab them, you know, if you're famous, if you're a star. I mean, it's just amazing that the head role model, if you will, in the middle of this entire movement of speak out and say something when, you know, somebody does something, is working, except for the lead role model, the lead sexual harasser in this. I mean, it's just, it blows your mind, doesn't it, when you think about it like that? I mean, Garrison Keillor. What are they going to have Roy Moore when he loses Alabama host the Today Show? Or, you know, well, Huckabee is very busy over at Fox, so why not, you know, Moore hosting Home Prairie Companion? I mean, Prairie Home Companion. Or the Today Show. Really, he could do. He could. If Mulvaney could spend 3 days a week over at Budget while we're facing a government shutdown, and 3 days a week over at Consumer Protection while he's deregulating banks, sure, then Roy Moore could do double duty. And speaking of Roy Moore, Well, there's so much today. You know, before we even got out of bed this morning, we were like, oh my God! Because my original plan for the day was to air clips from last night's CNN tax debate with Bernie Sanders, Maria Cantwell versus Tim Scott and smarmy Ted Cruz. Because, you know, it was really pretty legendary, the crap that they were telling. There was this one woman. Okay, the first question took up almost the whole hour of this debate because no one could give this woman a straight answer about whose tax plan would be better for her as a single mother with 4 kids and an income of $25,000 a year. Well, the truth is, nobody wanted to tell her. It was just, I was so nobody. Well, at $24,000 a year, your tax burden is like 0. It is. So, you know, and Tim Scott's going, oh, but you know what? So now you're going to get $2,000 for each of your kids. You're going to get $8,000 back. So her income's going to go from $25,000 a year to 30-something thousand because it's ridiculous. The whole thing, it was just so stupid. It was really, really dumb. But that all got derailed because this morning, before I hit the floor, and I feel like it wasn't feet first this morning. I feel like head first, you know? I feel like bam. Because I'm so dizzy from all of it. It did not take Trump long to top himself or to bottom himself. Is he a top? Is he a bottom? What do you think? What does everybody think? You think he's a top? I think he's a watcher. I don't even think he's an active participant, okay? I really don't. I think he's a watcher. I think he's a voyeur. I think he lets you do the work and he just sits back, relaxes, and enjoys the pee-pee show. I think that's him. But anyway, this morning, he bottomed himself because he started tweeting early this morning. He decided that he was going to retweet a far-right, ultra-nationalist, British neo-Nazi group, a group responsible for murdering a British member of parliament, an MP named Joe Cox. Joe Cox's husband was flipping out this morning that Trump would be retweeting a murderous group like that. I mean, these people are literally terrorists. The leader of this group, was arrested for aggravated religious harassment. I wish we had that in this country. Aggravated religious harassment. This girl, Jada Franson, she'd been charged previously in the UK with religious aggravated harassment, which sounds like war on Christmas here, doesn't it? Because we don't have that. But it's unbelievable. So Trump retweeted these freaking offensive videos from this murderous group that actually killed a member of parliament from, her district was called Batley. Her name was Joe Cox. And it was all during the Brexit referendum in 2016. The murderer, the person who murdered her, is named Thomas Mayer. And before he pulled the trigger, he yelled, "Britain first," which is not Allahu Akbar, by the way. It's Britain first, or America first, or MAGA, or any, right? And he fired his gun, and her husband, Brendan, said Trump should be ashamed of himself once he saw what Trump was retweeting. Couldn't believe it. Now, here's one of the videos that Trump retweeted this morning from this heinous terrorist eliminationist group, okay? And we have this epidemic here too, with the America First people. Now, of course, Trump is a blame America First person, but the America First people think that they're saying something meaningful when they say America First, but really what they're saying is that they want others, everyone who they don't understand, others, eliminated. The reason why they love Trump so much is because Trump said that they were rapists, they needed to be deported, prevented from coming here in the first place, banned. Some people need to be banned. They needed to be extreme vetted, which he refuses to do for his cabinet, which is kind of interesting because no one's there anymore. They all got booted, right? Now this big investigation, but the extreme vet, all of this, the idea that, he holds grudges against Native American. Listen, the point I'm trying to make here before we run out of the first segment time is that the Pocahontas racial slur seems quaint racism when you look at this kind of racism, this eliminationist racism. Here's one of the things he retweeted this morning, this video right here. Now, what this purports to show is a Muslim immigrant in Holland beating up a young, blonde, blue-eyed Dutch boy. Okay? This is what this video is supposed to be showing.
Let's go.
Wat doe jij nou op Discord? Wat wij met gaan we het uitvechten nu? Nou, maar kijk, ja, kom eens dan.
Hey.
Can you use primer?
Kanker, kankerflikker.
Okay, so that is what the white separatists in Britain First, the murderous group, the eliminationist group, the neo-Nazi group, the Brexit, the Nigel Farage followers. That is what Trump retweeted from them, except that the person beating up the blonde kid is also Dutch. He's not Muslim either, and he's not an immigrant. He's a native-born Dutch citizen, and he received and completed his sentence for beating this kid up under Dutch law. So this is why we spent so much time yesterday showing you things like Project Veritas and showing you how dangerous all this really is. All right, here's another thing that he tweeted this morning. This is what he's saying, that this was ISIS and was terrorism, and that, this is the threat we face, etc., etc. Oh my. Oh. Okay, so this is supposed to be like, Afghanistan Muslim terror, or something in Europe. This was the protest in Egypt. Remember when Morsi was being ousted? This was part of the violent protest. It was the Muslim Brotherhood versus the others that didn't want Morsi in there. Yeah, that's what this is. And the two people that threw this these other two people that beat him up and threw him off of the little part of the roof there. One was hanged, he's dead, and the other one got life in prison. See, is what that is. And this all happened during a very violent protest that went on for a very long time in Egypt. The perpetrators, let's see, 2014, Alexandria Criminal Court sentenced the two men in this video to death for the killing of one teenager and two others that they seriously injured during these protests. One of the men was hung on March 2015. That was the first execution in a wave of hundreds of death sentences for Morsi supporters. And there were a lot of trials. And the Morsi supporters were engaged in unbelievable amounts of violence, trying to keep him in there. And of course they lost. And then the other guy actually had his sentence knocked down from death to life in prison. So that's this is what the president is retweeting from a group that actually committed a murder themselves, that murdered a member of parliament, a British member of parliament, Joe Cox. So Theresa May, the Prime Minister of Britain today, she said that Trump ought to be ashamed of himself, that, this is just unbelievable. While Sarah Huckabee Sanders said, when she was told these videos aren't, first of all, tweeting out videos of dark-skinned or dark-haired people without context is bizarre in and of itself. Second, choosing to retweet a neo-Nazi group, a white separatist eliminationist group that's guilty of murdering a military, a member of parliament, is the second most bizarre thing. And then third, to have Sarah Huckabee Sanders be his wall and say, well, she won't say whether the inflammatory videos are real or not. She just said the threat is real. Well, Hitler warned us about Stalin, so I guess he was right too, right, Sarah? Go to RandiRhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.